Hi, and welcome back to the channel and College Process. Once again, I'm Ed from Principia Prep, and today we're going to be going over, does it make sense to send your SAT scores in this year or not? But before we begin, if you are new to the channel and are looking for additional college content, please hit the subscription button down below. It will notify you when new videos do come out. As well as if you do enjoy today's video, please leave us a like. It does help the channel. As well as, starting this Friday, I'm going to be making a new video every Friday going forward to answer all the comments you guys leave down below and all the questions, because you guys have been leaving a lot of comments and questions down below. So going forward, every Friday from now on, I will be basically starting up a video, just answering all the different questions you guys ask me, just so that way we can get all the answers out to you guys a lot faster. As well as also, we are still running the James Russo Memorial Scholarship for this year's senior class. So if you want to help out, or if you want to be eligible for the James Russo Memorial Scholarship, very simple. Down below in the description is a link to the video explaining how our scholarship program here works at the organization. As well as also in the description down below is also organization's Venmo and buy us coffee if you want to help support the channel, allowing us to making these videos for you guys out there. Now, all that being said, let's jump right into today's video. Does it make sense to send your SAT scores in this year or not? And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you guys some numbers basically. Now, many of you guys that watch the videos here on the channel realize I like to use Harvard University as a starting point for pretty much everything. So we're going to use this Harvard's numbers over the last couple of years to explain to you guys, to basically show you guys, demonstrate why I believe this year is so important to send out your SAT scores. And starting with the numbers, let's go over this year's Harvard class of 2026, which they received at Harvard for this year's class. They received 61,221 applications, of which they accepted 1,984 students, and they had 36 students taken off the wait list over the summer, essentially, to be admitted to the college. Now, by the way, this is very rare. Most times when it comes to Ivy League schools, they almost have no one come off the wait list. But right off the bat, let's talk about the numbers. Right off the bat, 61,000 plus students applied. That's a record number. This number is tremendous amount of students applying to Harvard. It's never been this high. Second piece of information is very important based on these numbers is the fact that they accepted 1,984 students, also a record number. Also another bit of information here to know about. And then of course the third, which I just talked about a moment ago, the students taken off the wait list is also a record number. Most Ivy League schools, most schools at this level never have that many students taken off the wait list. So let me explain by looking at the 2025 numbers for you guys. For the 2025 class, application pool saw 57,000 plus applicants coming in. Now this was a huge difference these 2 years, the 2026 class and the 2025 class versus the 2024 class, which only saw 40,248 people applying. As you can see here, between 2024 graduating class and 25 and 26 graduating class, obviously there's a huge jump in applications because the school went SAT, ACT optional, which happened, by the way, for every school, by the way. Now, when you take the SAT, ACT away, what happens is the application pool skyrockets. As you can see here from the differences between the 23, 24 academic graduating years versus the 25 and 26 academic graduating years. The difference here in the amount of applications coming in is staggering. And let me give you another example, because it's not just Harvard it's happening at. Let's also take a look at Rutgers University, the state school here for us here in New Jersey. Now, just last year, the 2026 graduating class had over 70,000 applications come in. Now, to give you perspective of the difference of this, let's look at the 2020 class, basically before the pandemic started. So the 2020 class applying to college, just 42,000 applications. So between Harvard and Rutgers, you can see a vast difference here between a high-level Ivy League school and a high-level public university. Basically across the board, all schools have seen a massive increase on the application pool, making it more competitive, making essentially this being the most competitive application year in history. So sending in the SAT or ACT scores is a big deal because it gets you out of that realm of SAT, ACT optional to give you more chances of getting accepted by getting you out of the most populated pool of the admissions world. Now, the reality is there's a lot less SAT scores out there. So especially if you consider that most students are not sending test scores in. In fact, as you can see here, it's actually been estimated somewhere between 60% of students or so are not sending test scores in. So what does that mean? Well, it's very simple. If I am sending a test score in, I basically, in a sense, eliminate 60% of my competition. I've now made myself into a smaller applicant, meaning I have less competition. I'm not competing against 99 other students. I'm competing against essentially 39 other students. So your goal is eliminating huge chunks of competition. How do you do that? send your test scores in if they are good test scores. So how do we know if you should send the test scores or not? Well, it's very simple. Let me start by giving you here a list here of all the top level schools here, or I guess the hardest schools to get into with the lowest acceptance rate, to give you a perspective of what their SAT scores are. Now you can see here, I'm looking at the 75th percentile, by the way, to see what the highest level scores are coming in for these colleges. And you can see here, pretty much the scores are between 1550 to 1580, 1590 scores here for the colleges here next to it. The way I'm looking at it is, I'm looking to send my test scores if I'm anywhere within 50 to 90 points of that score. Now you might be thinking, well, Ed, if with 1590 point score, what do you mean? For me, I'm sending a score of 1500 in, I'm definitely sending it in. That 50 to 90 point scale, if I'm at a 1500 or 1470, 1480, 1490, I'm definitely sending the score in. Now you might be thinking, well, Ed, you're 70, 80, 90 points off what the 75th percentage tile showed you. Why would you send it in? And the answer is very simple. Now the reality is there's a lot less SAT scores out there. So a 1500 looks 10 times better now than it did 3 years ago, especially if you consider that most students are not sending test scores in. Now this also works for schools that had median SAT scores of 1500, 1400, 1300, 1200, etc. So obviously if a school has a median SAT score of 1400, anything around 1320, 1330 or so or higher, I'm very likely sending it in. If a school has an SAT median score of 1500 and I'm at 1410, 1410, 1420, etc., I'm definitely looking to send it in. Now, if you're looking at the ACT, because obviously some of you are looking at the ACT consideration, for me, it's a 1 to 3 point basically scale. So if you're looking at the ACT and their median score is a 33, I have a 30, I'm sending it in. If their median score is a 36 and I have a 33, I'm sending it in, or 35, etc. Basically, anything between 1 to 3 points on the ACT of the median score of that college, I'm also sending it in. Anything below that, I'm not sending it in. If it's SAT optional, I'm going optional because it's not going to help your cause. In some cases, it might actually be a hindrance to you. So the benefit is for the SAT, ACT students out there that are not hitting the levels or not close enough to the median score, I would not send the score in. And then of course, one of the questions is obviously going to be, how do we even find the median test score requirement for that college, whether it's the SAT or the ACT? And it's very simple. If you call the school's admissions office and ask them, they will actually tell you what their median SAT score is for last year's academic class that was accepted to that college. So that way, in some cases, they'll give you a range. In other cases, they'll give you a specific number. With that specific number, you can sit down and figure out, am I in that range of 50 to 90 points within the median score level to make myself send the test scores in to feel comfortable knowing it's not going to be a hindrance to my application. So with all that being said, if you guys do have any comments or any questions, once again, this Friday and going forward, every single Friday, any comments or questions you guys leave below, I will be making a video and answering every one of the questions you guys leave below. I know you guys have a lot of questions. As I mentioned before, you guys send me questions all the time, and sometimes I'm able to answer them, sometimes I'm not. But I figured the best way to kind of get back to you guys to answer your questions is making a video for you guys out there. And all that being said, if you guys do enjoy the video today, please leave us a like. It does help the channel. As well as on the screen, you do see my contact information. If you guys do need help with the process of admissions or financial aid, I do meet with families one-on-one through Zoom. So if you do need assistance, you can always just send me a text or email me. Those are the two fastest way, by the way, to reach me. You can also call me, but I do take a little bit longer to get back to you if you leave a voicemail, because I rarely am able to get on the phone and answer it. So if you text me or email me, I typically get back to you within a day or two very quickly. And other than that, thank you for watching today's video. Once again, my name is Ed from Principia Prep.